Okay, so who are SBS? Well, we were formed in 2007 and we have expert education specific teams across budgeting, finance, accountancy, HR, payroll, ICT and MIS. We joined our parent company, the Supporting Education Group, in 2020, and we are growing in not just team size, but the volume of schools we support too. But that's enough about us. Let's talk about migrations. Migrating to a new MIS, I believe, has three core components. You have the vision. Why do you want to change the software? What is it that you want to gain from the new system? And where do you see yourself in a year's time? What do you want to be different? Once you have those visions, you then choose the software. There's so many out there now. Do you go for the market leader, or maybe ones that colleagues have experience of? Or even maybe the cheapest? Everyone's budget is shrinking, isn't it? So what's the answer? Well, I believe it's all of them. Get as many different demos as you are happy with. Ask as many questions as you need to get the closest fit to your vision. And then finally, the support. With the right support in place, your migration and aftercare should feel seamless. This should not be a laborious process. So let's discuss these in more detail. The vision, why do you want to change? Consolidation of software. Maybe like so many others, you probably have a legacy setup that you've taken over. And then either due to functionality or lack of knowledge around the system, you then started purchasing other products until you realise that surely you just need one or two pieces of software instead of the 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 that you have and that you are paying for. It may be due to integration and automation. Do you find those 6 or 7 products you have, it requires duplication in work, entering data in one and then again in another, or they don't seamlessly sync? Surely it's a game changer as well if a new system can automate daily tasks too, such as scheduling reports to run and sending them to staff members. What happens if that staff member who always runs that report is absent? Do you even know which report they run or how to access it? Or perhaps it's automating workflows around, say, behaviour incidents, so that if a pupil is given a certain level of behaviour, the system will automatically let the staff know or put them into a detention and also email the parents. And that leads us nicely on to saving admin time and the burden on your staff. If you can cut their workload down so they're free to get on with other duties. I've always said get the system working for you and not the other way round. Schools also want a cloud system. They do. Anywhere, anytime access across a variety of devices with reduced risk to disaster recovery. And if nothing else, this last year has shown us those on cloud systems instantly had access in lockdown, whereas some schools were left scrambling to get access to their own system. The plus side of cloud systems are also no more waiting for an update. You know those times when we're told we'll get that out in the next update, but then it's delayed, and then you end up waiting 6 months for a small change. We've all been there, but cloud systems tend to be more reactive. The next one, with so many more trusts out there now, is a no-brainer. At trust level, you need access to be able to analyse your school's data at the touch of a button, not by emailing or calling each school asking for the stats to be sent over. You want unified processes across the board so you can understand the full picture at any given time. Schools also want to be paperless. It's less administration time, less "Miss, I lost my letter," or the parents saying they weren't notified of an event, etc. And you can also help the environment too by saving some trees. And that leads us on nicely to cost savings. Will a new MIS be cheaper? The only way to find out is to detail what packages you're using across your school and their costs. You'll probably be surprised. But look at this over a 5-year period, because that first year you'll have increased costs due to training and maybe project management. So what are your current combined costs at the moment? Have a look at a few of these ideas. Often the one surprise we get when we speak to schools is they forget what they have. When we first have that initial conversation and ask what software they're using, we normally get told they're MIS and possibly a communications package. But as we start to delve deeper and have those conversations, we get those classic phrases of, oh yes, I've got that. Oh, and I forgot we have that for our assessment and we have this for our behaviour. And then the actual total costs and the potential savings that you can make are an eye-opener. Now more than ever is the time to be stringent with your school budget. So what to consider? What are the benefits and the pitfalls of making such a big change? Although cloud and costs are the two main benefits, they're not the be-all or the end-all. Have a think about what your timescale is. Is it desperately needed due to other contracts running out, or do you have time to really investigate? What's your budget and what are your priorities for taking this on? It's no good jumping with the cheapest if you'll end up in the same position and then buying extra products again if the functionality doesn't match your priorities. Some schools put off migrating as they think they're too busy for such a big move, but actually it will save them time in the long run. What's your internet like at school? Does it need upgrading for this move to be a success? And what are the costs involved in that? Or maybe, do you actually need a new MIS? Perhaps you just need dedicated consultancy to help train your staff in the current software and make it a success. Maybe some new hardware. Do these outweigh the costs of a new system? Not every conversation we have results in a migration. Sometimes schools don't realise the capabilities of the system they already have. Now, point number 4, no MIS is the same, which is exactly why you're changing. But you need to think about what you specifically want as a school, your needs and which software is fit for that purpose. No one software fits all schools as you are so uniquely different. You also need to ask what will be migrated and what information will not. Are there any extra charges to migrate this? Think about any historical assessment or exams data, any linked documents, etc. You may want to integrate the new system with third-party products such as a catering company or maybe a communications package until that contract runs out. And some have been known to charge for this, so be aware of possible extra admin charges. And the last one, some staff can be resistant to change. Make sure that everybody has time to ask plenty of questions and have good, transparent, honest discussions once you've chosen your software. Communication is key, and if staff feel their opinions matter and any issues are addressed early on, it really does help the process. It's always good to pinpoint those staff that are more resistant to change and then have key processes in place to support them. Maybe buddying up with a colleague who's a quicker learner or some extra training in place for them. So the software. With so many choices of MIS supplier, it's fine to feel a little daunted, especially if you've been with your legacy system for some time. It is a big move. And these are, by all means, not all of them, but just some of those systems that are out there now. I'd like to share this recent survey with you. This was conducted on the satisfaction levels schools have with their current MIS. And it's fair to say the third one in, the cloud system of I don't know, is doing fantastically well and rating 7 out of 10 for satisfaction. What it does, however, do is give you an insight into the current market though. There is no one big market leader anymore. Schools are definitely changing, and it's not just academies either. Maintained schools are on the move too. Historically, almost all local authorities had bulk purchasing agreements that included the MIS as part of their bundle with other systems and support. But as cloud-based MIS providers have grown in popularity, local authorities have responded. Many now encourage choice or have framework agreements which offer a wide range of MIS options. Now, any project needs a cycle, and I think migrations fit neatly into these following 6 steps. Start with your project management. Choose a project manager and a team who will support you, and whether that's your current support provider or whether you'll go directly to the software company. And then divvy up those different roles and responsibilities. You know who needs to be involved and at what stage, and then communicate this to everyone. Next, investigate. Arrange those software demos with all of the areas of what you need as a school covered, and make sure all relevant staff are invited to those, not just the SLT. Bring in a variety of staff at different stages so you get a variety of different questions. Once you've got that software, the planning stage comes in. What's the schedule of implementation? Do you have access to dummy sites first? Who will notify third parties? What information does the software company need for a smooth migration? Each company will have different timelines, but they do all need to suit you. Communicate this too, so everyone is aware of the basic timeline, even if they don't need to know the exact ins and outs, so to speak. Next is the training stage. Demo sites coupled up with training is a fantastic way to learn, but access to your own dummy site to see your data means so much more. What's migrated and where, what's not, you know, how does it look, how does it feel? And then have those conversations. How are you finding it? Are some struggling more than most? Do you need to fit in any extra support, or is it all going to plan? You will have a much better go live if issues are picked up sooner rather than later. Then, important go live. Will you get extra support in those first few days? Do you have a dedicated contact for that first week where you're finding your feet? It's important to feel supported throughout. And lastly, it's always good to evaluate on the process and look at any issues. Talk to the main users and conduct a final assessment. What has gone well and what hasn't? And if there's any issues, speak to your key contacts to get extra support, because this process shouldn't feel you leaving disheartened with a new system. It should be very much the opposite. And then in the centre is communication. This is the one key component that makes the project cycle work. Communicate as much as you can when you can. Let's have a look at preparing for this now. These are my tips for a smooth migration. Is your data of current good quality? When was the last time you carried out any housekeeping procedures? Migration is the perfect time to clean up your data and only take with you what's required. It's a bit like moving house. You always tend to have a clear out either before or when you get to the new place. It just depends on whether it's easier to do it before and then take only what you need, or get to the new house and then get rid of anything you don't need. Risk management. What happens when the go live date needs to be changed? Will that affect any other processes? What happens if key staff in the project are absent? Is there someone to take over to ensure that it still runs smoothly? Who's involved and when and at what stages of the project? Look at each category of staff and choose the key times to involve them. It's a fine balancing act, so everyone feels informed and included, but at the times when they need to be. Staff communication and training are critical to success. They need to know when, how, and why you're changing, and then feel fully confident and supported. You want them actively engaging to make this project a success. Get the right support in place. Have a dedicated hand-holding throughout the process and after if you need it. As I said, it's a big move, and after years in just one system, it can feel a bit daunting. And lastly, find out what checks there are on your old data and then the new system to be able to sign it off as a success. And who will do that, whether it's yourselves or whether that's your support company. At the beginning, I mentioned hindsight, so here are my top 3 of what I wish we'd known at the start. There is no magic MIS. that will do everything right now that you require as a school, but there are best fits. The best fit for your school, your circumstances, and your vision right now. But that said, the new cloud MISs are more reactive to change due to the nature of the cloud. Number 2, not only are you changing your MIS, but you also need to change your staff's mindset. It will be a different way of working, which is exactly why you are changing. But to embrace that new system, the approach of how do I do that? Or I need to see this sort of data instead. Instead of those, we used to do it like this, or the report used to look like that. That change in mindset will help you and your staff embrace the change. It starts to break down any resistance. And lastly, done right, it does not need to be stressful. It does not need to be draining. It can be the start of something very exciting and something you may well wish you'd done years ago. So why am I here? To listen. It's so important that you have someone to listen to your specific needs as a school or a MAT. Tell me what's working and what's not working in your school right now. Speak to your support partner like me, or just come and speak to us. Don't do this on your own. A good support partner will be able to give you an objective view about any MIS you're thinking of moving to. They should be able to support you as little or as much as you want and effectively hold your hand from start to finish. They would have done this many times and have good working relationships with the software companies, enabling them to take the burden from your shoulders while you get on with the day-to-day activities in school. And they do normally jump in and ask the questions that you may not have thought to ask. Have a look at what we offer. If you're not going to use the software company's support services, they usually have a list of accredited partners that they've met certain standards to give you good quality support and training, and that makes a huge difference. Ask how they're accredited too. Is it just for support or training also? And look for those extra areas of support that we offer here. We offer pre-migration support of housekeeping and data cleansing before you migrate, saving you and your staff the time and the work. Project management with a dedicated consultant throughout, who will not only be there with you at the start, but with you specifically at Go Live. We offer direct dial for the first week to your project consultant, so none of those waiting for a callback. Training, making sure there is a dedicated training program, not only through this process, but also that your next steps are in place for Go Live and beyond. This should give you a timeline to really maximise your new software's potential. And finally, the post-migration support. What's on offer? What are their SLAs and how do they deliver updates? We release blogs and webinars, and we have dedicated chats with consultants that are pre-bookable to ensure that you get a value-added service. We see all of our migrations at the start of a great new partnership, and we like to make sure it's the best that it can be. Also, when you find the support that works for you, decide on how you'd like that to be delivered. Some schools prefer on-site and some are happy for it to be delivered remotely, but just check and see if that's on offer too. Do your research. When choosing your support, ask them how many migrations they've done, specifically with the MIS that you've chosen, not just in general. Ask to speak with a couple of those schools that they've migrated to get their views and their advice. Speak to the consultants who will be involved, get a feel for their knowledge, and choose a company you feel confident with. This is your project, your time for change, and you can do that with whoever support you choose. If you'd like to find out more and have an informal chat with us, or you can call us, you can email us, and we'd be happy to help you. Alternatively, drop past our website if you want to find out more about what we do. But now I'm delighted to say that we have one of our software partners with us today. So with no further ado, I'm going to hand over to Andrew Macareth, who is a Senior Partnership Manager for Arbor, and let him give you an insight into their software. Andrew, over to you.
Thanks, Georgina. I'm just going to quickly swap over to the right resources, which I'm hoping will be there. I'm sure everybody that's joined today will just be so reassured by the fact that Georgina and her colleagues from SBS seem to be talking about this so calmly. They seem as if they've absolutely thought of everything, which is tremendous. And I'm certainly I'm listening, thinking if I ever move MIS again, I'm certainly going to want that kind of support, whether it's from whether I'm fortunate enough to be able to work with SBS or with someone else. But thank you. That was a really, really thoughtful and detailed and reassuring process. So it's my opportunity and privilege to talk to you a little bit about Arbor. And so, first of all, I want to just kind of put things into perspective. Arbor is the fastest growing MIS company. I'm really pleased to say that when you saw that survey of satisfaction, we were right up there amongst the leaders of the pack. And we've got over 1,800 schools that have gone through precisely the process that you've heard described so thoughtfully today. The visual there kind of gives you a good idea of our geographic spread as well. So it means it's really, really easy for you to be able to say, yeah, but I want to know about another school that's like me or got these particular characteristics, because it means our network, our community of schools is so extensive, both nationally, but also in terms of school role and school type, that we're always able to put you in touch with somebody else who's going through similar challenges or who has faced exactly the challenges that you're facing. What's driving us to do this? Well, we're trying to get schools, we're trying to get staff to work collaboratively. We're trying to take away the need to do those kind of monotonous daily tasks, and to give you tools to be able to get through those effectively, efficiently, in a timely fashion, so that you can do the really important stuff, which is the pupil-facing stuff and the work around engaging with your communities. Why schools choose Arbor? Well, we are a school with an MIS with a strong social mission, which will align with your school. It will align with your MAT, because actually what we want to do is we want to improve the well-being, the workload of your staff, your teachers, as well as your administrators. But we want to be able to prove that we're making a measurable impact on the young people that we serve and the schools that we work with. You can see from the metrics there that this is more than words. These are things that we ask you for your views about, you, our clients, you, our customers, you, our friends, you, our community, to be able to help us to plan our future directions, to plan our resources, but also to evaluate the impact of what we're doing. And that particular phrase I know will resonate with head teachers that have joined us today. 92% of those respondents said that we're saving them time compared to how they used to do things. 92% said that we've transformed the way that they work. Not just we've changed it, we've transformed it, and we've transformed it for the better. They're able to see what a difference we're making to the way those schools operate. And 81% are saying that Arbor has helped them to analyze and understand their data. Of course, I think that the reason why that metric is lower is because, as Georgina's already said, people are resistant to change, resistant to tinkering, if you like, with something which is so fundamental to the way schools operate, which is the way we evaluate and assess the young people themselves. So it's natural that there's a little bit more reserve around that. I want to also say that as well as being strongly social mission driven and focused on your needs, I was reflecting as Georgina was talking to us, that I'm a senior partnership manager, but you don't know anything else about me, and I think it's important that I put the company into a little bit of perspective as well, because my route to Arbor was from a multi-academy trust leadership. Prior to that, I was in school leadership. I was a secondary head ostensibly, although I had been an executive head over 2 settings, which included a through school. So I've been the head of a primary school, and I've grappled with the day-to-day and the strategic requirements of a secondary school and a primary school. But I'm one of 2 head teachers within Arbor, and a team of about 10. I think there's about 10 of us that have got relevant classroom experience, as well as, I made a note, we've got a data lead, we've got an office manager, we've got an examinations officer, we've got a SENCO, we've got a number of people who are serving members of governing bodies. We've even got somebody from Arbor who's not a million miles away, who's actually a chair of a governing body. So we are informed by best practice. We are informed by our experience. And so when we talk about the needs of school, we talk about it from a position of understanding of the context, understanding of the challenge, and understanding of the need, which is why features like live benchmarking, how does Sophie's attendance relate to her attendance last year, other students in a year group, other students in her demographic group, and to actually put that sort of benchmarking, that contextual information into the MIS in a way that makes it very, very easy, so that when people log in, they're greeted by these key performance indicators of how the school and individual students and cohorts are performing, rather than having to run reports, rather than having to go down to the office to ask for someone to do this work for you, actually surfacing this information quickly and easily and allowing you to take a whole variety of actions on the basis of that. If you do want to run your own more complex reports and draw in postcode data with attendance, with behavior, with progress and attainment, Arbor's custom report writer enables you to do not only to build that report, but also to be able to schedule that report or automate it and to push it out to the people that need it. What's more, the dashboards in Arbor know your role by your login, and they will ensure that the information that you get around New Year setup or around census or around missing registers and assessments will be pushed onto your dashboard. So you can filter out all of the noise of school busyness and focus on the bits that most matter to you. We bring all of our data together into a single source of truth. Not only this example talks about the student profile, but we do exactly the same around staff profiles as well, which enable you to build a very, very comprehensive picture of the world of the child or the world of the member of staff. What I would say is, by way of exemplifying that, of course, we have all of that standard database information, phone numbers, next of kin, safeguarding notes, well-being notes, and other such matters. But the ability to also include the rich diversity of the student world, which includes SENCO information, EHCPs, IEPs, intervention information, clubs and trips information. You can even quickly see what provision the school has made through the form of our provision maps, our intervention maps, and also on that student level, you can also drill down to the point where you can see how much each of your interventions has been spent against a child's needs, and also how many of those particular intervention outcomes that child has achieved. We want to make sure that the experience of every Arbor user is as efficient as possible, which is why I built all the way through Arbor, wherever you find yourself with a table, whether it's an attendance, behavior, or an attainment table, you have the option to be able to take extended actions, to be able to take action on the information that you see in front of you. So I can look at my attendance, I can see who's not present, and in bulk, I can select all of the students that are not bulk and not in school. I can select to do my first day follow-ups. Arbor will know what my communication preferences are. It will know what my email or my text message or my push notification template is. It's got my parents' correspondence information, and it will ensure that the right people get the right information in a timely fashion. We also drive very, very hard on involving parents as becoming active or more active participants in the learning journey, which is why Arbor comes with a parent portal and a parent app, which simultaneously pushes out the information that the school chooses to share around everything from meals, clubs, trips, behavior, attendance, consents, and so on, can all be pushed out. The data load is minimal, which is good news for parents. And it's also, because it's browser-based or app-based, it's device agnostic, which means legacy software, both in school and for parents, can continue to be utilized. And as you will see from the implication of our design graphics there, it renders perfectly well on a smartphone, or on a tablet, whether that be an Apple device or a Microsoft-based device, or indeed even open source. If you can run Google browser, then you can run, and you can see all this information. As parents, you can interact with it, you can engage with it, you can respond to it. All of the time, the school has the reassurance of that complete correspondence, that two-way correspondence is being tagged securely where it should be against the child profile. We've talked about the importance of the support partner, and what this slide is doing is just kind of reinforcing that to the extent that our mission is to ensure that every one of our customers has a world-class experience. You can do that very easily when you've got a small number of schools. When you're growing at the rate that we are, you have to be able to rely on people to be able to know your ways of working, understand your philosophies, understand your software, understand schools, such as our friends at SBS. So we've a national network of support partners, some that work regionally, some that work globally, across, no, maybe not globally yet, but who knows, but certainly work non-geographically across the country to be able to meet and support your needs. The photographs we have on the slide at the moment are from the last time we were able to do our Arbor Fest event, which was an opportunity for Arbor users to come together, to meet, to share with other Arbor users, to hear from our leadership team, to hear from our technology team about what we're working on, what we want to be able to develop, to be able to get some sneak peeks of things that were in development, but also to have an opportunity to inform us about how it feels to be an Arbor user, how it feels to come up against particular challenges, or how schools are using our software to be able to meet challenges that perhaps they're able to use the software in intuitive ways that even we hadn't anticipated. Well, the lockdown has meant a lot of things for a lot of people, but for us to actually move those events online, rather than diminish participation, it's actually exploded it exponentially. And the last of the online ArborFest events had 3,000 attendees across the 2 days of events. And it's just an example of the fact that you're not just buying software, you're very much joining an Arbor community, both in terms of face-to-face, the way in which we interact online through the MIS, allowing people to join the Arbor community, where people have built reports, where we have provided guides around key activities like census, like staff workforce census, and so on, and provided all of this material in a variety of different formats, so written media, but also the opportunity to be able to print PDF guides if that's how you choose to work, or to watch a video, or to interact with people directly through the platform, and to be able to get your support in that way. So I know that we are going to go into some questions in just a moment. Just going to reiterate the details there of SBS. Arbor itself as a company offer a whole range of webinar events, and you'll be very welcome to join any of those. You can see on that short link at the bottom, and this will be sent around with the material post-event. You can find us at www.arbor-education.com, and there you'll be able to see all of the events and activities that we've got going on, including events for focusing on what the MIS looks like, but also what our approach to the implementation looks like as well. So I believe we're at a stage where we want to invite questions. So if you just give me a second to drop off this.
Andrew, there is one in the chat already.
Perfect.
From Kevin. He says they currently use Sims and class charts, and would Arbor enable us to do away with both of these systems? The students use class charts for virtual learning, remote learning, behavioural management, and setting homework.
The answer is yes, and I'm reassured by the fact that my colleague Beth is also she's visually giving the answers to all of this. Arbor has its Arbor has as a philosophy, which I think I'd like to just explain to you. So the short answer, in case you tune out, is yes, you can replace both of those. The longer answer is Arbor has a philosophy that says we want to be the best we possibly can because of that mission to transform the way that you work. So if you really love class charts and it's really, really embedded in your schools and you've got fantastic ways of working, then we want to enable you to move to Arbor, but to continue to work with class charts. Having said that, we also have within Arbor a really excellent classroom management tool, which we call My Classroom, which draws in the ability to be able to do communications, but attendance, behavior, to view on screen children's demographics, children's behavior, and also children's progress between fixed points, whether that's year baseline and current working out grades. So it sounds to me that it would be a great opportunity for one of my colleagues to just show you what the Arbor offer is in that space. But with any of those third-party integrations that you've got, we do have functionality to be able to support on safeguarding, but we are not going to go toe-to-toe with the market-leading safeguarding software solutions. And again, if you have really, really good embedded practice around My Concern, Safeguard, CPOMs, then we want you to be able to continue to be able to work with that. So we have the integrations. We've got a lot of companies that are still seeking to integrate with us, but we also have middleware such as One, Salamander, and Group Call, which again will enable you to talk across those different technical languages, and a really good support partner would be able to help you to be able to box all of that off.
Can I start to that? I just wanted to, hi, I'm Beth, by the way. I manage partnerships at Arbor, so I work with Andrew and with the team at SBS. I just wanted to add that one of the companies that we are working with on integration partnership at the moment is SBS. So as well as being a support partner, SBS, some of you might know, and some of you might use their budgeting tool. And we are working later this year with them on an integration with that, because as Andrew said, we don't want to do, we don't want to be a jack of all trades, master of none. We want to be a really good MIS. We don't necessarily want to go away and build a budgeting tool if there's already great ones on the market, like the one that SBS have. So that's coming up later this year. So if any of you are users of that, then that's something to look forward to.
Okay. Am I right to ask a question?
Yeah, you carry on.
Sorry. So how long would you say would be a period that you should allocate to swap from one service to the other, so it's done professionally? What sort of time period would you suggest?
I'm happy to give you an Arbor question, but I wonder whether SBS might want to talk a little bit about that pre-migration, and then I'll follow on after that. How's that?
Yeah.
The way I would look at this, honestly, is obviously if you've chosen your MIS, you've done your bit work up until that point, and then you're at that point. So then it's down to planning in what your lead in is from Arbor, primary or secondary school. Secondary schools need longer time to allow for data checking and training, etc. So physically more staff. So you actually have a longer period of lead in for a secondary school than you would a primary. And of course, I think things can be done as quickly or as slowly as you really want. It depends on your situation and your school. Arbor have some particular lead-in times for primary and secondary. And again, we all agree secondary needs longer. So we work to those and with the schools concerned. So it depends really what each situation brings up.
Right.
Yeah, and all I would add in support of that is in school, think primary migration takes a half term, secondary migration takes a term. Now it's actually a little bit shorter than that, but schools that are making decisions this week, next week, and up until the end of July are expecting in a primary school are expected to come across to Arbor by October half term. Some are wanting to plan it much more strategically than that. And if you are genuinely on that bus which says we are changing MIS, it's when, not if, then I would suggest you speak to your support partner and talk to them about the arrangements which Arbor have made with support partners to enable people to move quickly without having the worry of paying for 2 MIS simultaneously, for example. Because yes, of course, you've paid for your current MIS, but you'll get a new bill for your new one. So you'll want to know what Arbor's able to do for you in that situation. And we've got a great story. I'm not doing the big reveal. I'm trying to build the dramatic tensions that you pick up the phone and make the call. But certainly, our primary migration is usually very straightforward. We do a lot of them over the weekend, and if we had to do a test case, we could take your backup data today. You could be live on Arbor by Monday of next week. The truth is, no one would have had training, no one would have had proper opportunity to discuss what they need, what they want, and what they're worried about, which is why we would sooner be working with you now to understand, to really discover and to dig in to what it is you're looking for this MIS project to achieve for you operationally, strategically, financially, against what we want to deliver for you with bells and whistles on in October, so that by November you're telling all your friends it was the best move you ever made.
I think as well, just to add in and go back to George's presentation, is really important is the you know, us as a support partner, having a project manager there that's sort of central to all of the communications that you want. You want to be able to receive sort of communications from you know, one central person, timelines, next steps, those type of things. So, you know, again, that's for me pivotal in that sort of project management piece.
It's because this is such a big change for any school to undertake. It is, as George put it together, you know, it's like moving house. You go down a process, don't you? Go out and view houses, you decide which one you're going to buy, and then you have to wait the time for those people to move out before you can move in. And then when you get it, you're going to think, oh, I've got to do some decorating. So that's your training. And there's a process, isn't there, that you have to go through. It's a big change for any school to undertake, and therefore it's no good going into it, you know, at the drop of a hat. You've got to prepare, plan, and get it out properly, and then your staff will be happy. We don't want unhappy staff. That's the worst thing ever.
You sure about that?
I'm positive. I'm actually positive.
Right. Is it recorded, this?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Well, we did have the chocolate brownie meeting.
Tea and cake.
Yeah, so we had the tea and cake, and then we did request a follow-up demo, but I've not heard anything since. It's a couple of weeks ago. And
You will.
Is it Alice Miller, I think they call
All right. I shall give her a message, Kevin. I'm sorry to hear that.
But I've sent her a couple of emails, but no replies.
She is on holiday this week, but
Maybe why.
She's actually on holiday, but Kevin, believe it or not, because she's moved house. No joke. I'm not making that up. She's just moved.
So just ask us to follow it up, and we'll get a date in for a demo.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
If anyone's wondering what that is, by the way, we do sessions with schools where we send you some cake in the post and have a cup of tea with you, and you can learn a little bit about Arbor in a more informal way. But if you are interested in finding out a little bit more after today, just reach out to one of the team at SBS, and they will put you in touch with us, and then we can sort out a meeting with you. But yeah, I'll look into that for you, Kevin. Sorry about that.
Joanne said it was very nice, the brownie.
I was going to say everybody would like cake. So.
Yeah, I can't promise cake to everybody. Maybe we've got to say.
Yeah, we do send cake to anybody that signs to Arbor, so that's an incentive.
We get some more brownies then. Anybody got
anybody else got any questions that they'd like to raise, either in the chat or to unmute their microphones? Would anybody else like to know anything? All quiet.
Silent.
It's all quiet. Well, of course, as I said, as we said before, the session is being recorded. If you'd like a copy of the recording, we're happy to send that out. We will be putting it out on our website as well, so that people can actually get it from there too. So, and if there's anything that we can do to help you, please do contact us. We can talk to you about any migrations or anything that you'd like to discuss.
I've also just added some contact details in the chat with a blog about me. So if you need to get in contact, then all the details are in that blog.
That's great.
It doesn't look like there's anything else.
No.
Thanks everybody
Thanks
for coming.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.